The day that never ends. The strange loop of dissociative amnesia. He wakes up and reads the same note every morning. Hi Eli, it's Tuesday. You're safe. You had an accident. I'm your wife, Mara. Call me before you leave the house. He sighs. He sets the note down as if for the first time. Cut to Eli dialing.
Good morning.
We've done this before? Yes. But it's okay. We'll do it again.
Eli is 38, teacher, father. He remembers last summer's camping trip, childhood baseball, the smell of pine needles and burnt marshmallow. He remembers who he is, mostly, but not yesterday, not the fight he and Mara had, not the orange traffic cone he clipped on the way home, not the awkward joke his daughter told at dinner. Every morning the world returns to default. He can tie his shoes. He can make coffee. He can play the opening to Blackbird with his eyes closed. But the past 24 hours? Deleted. Or rather, locked. At first doctors suspected concussion, then complex partial seizures, then malingering, an ugly word that means faking. But faking doesn't explain the sticky notes in his handwriting, the GPS breadcrumbs on his phone, the sorrow that flickers across his face when he sees the same photograph and relearns the same truths. What dissociative amnesia is and isn't. Amnesia isn't one thing. There's anterograde amnesia, trouble forming new memories after an event, classically linked to hippocampal injury. There's retrograde amnesia, trouble recalling memories from before an event. There are post-traumatic forms, there are medication-induced forms, and then there's dissociative amnesia. Dissociative amnesia isn't caused by obvious structural brain damage. The CAT scans can be clean. The MRI can be boring. Instead, dissociative amnesia is a lockdown of access, the brain's emergency protocol, often triggered by severe stress, trauma, or overwhelming emotion. The memories exist, somewhere, but the mind refuses the key. It can take many shapes, localized, a carved-out gap for a period of time, for example, the day of an accident. Selective, the mind keeps the outline but loses the details. Generalized, name, life history, identity, gone, at least for a while. Dissociative fugue, the person wanders, sometimes taking on a new identity, and later cannot remember the journey. Eli's loop isn't a perfect movie trope. He can lay down some new learning with repetition. He can improve at tasks. His emotions carry hints, a blush when Mara smiles, a hollow ache he can't place when he passes the school he used to teach at. But each morning, the narrative thread frays. The trigger. The night before the first loop, Eli was driving home in a storm. A truck hydroplaned, swerved, corrected. No collision, just a squeal of tires, a shudder, a memory of fear. He arrived home angry at the weather, angry at the world, arguing with Mara about something small that felt big. He went to bed, in the morning, blank. Was it the near miss, the argument, or something older that the near miss activated? An unresolved trauma from years before that never had language. In dissociative conditions, triggers can be subtle. They reach back with long fingers, pulling on places the person doesn't realize still hurt. The mind, unable to process, sometimes cuts the wire rather than allowing the circuit to overload. What it feels like inside. Imagine opening your eyes and discovering that your life has continued without you. Your daughter's hair is shorter than you remember. The mug you always use is chipped. Your email inbox is full of conversations you apparently had, filled with your sentences, your jokes, your plans. It's your life, wearing your handwriting, speaking with your voice. But you weren't there. Eli keeps a memory binder, a daily summary, who he saw, what he did, what to remember tomorrow. He color codes, work, family, bills, do not forget. He reads it each morning like a novel with missing pages. Sometimes he stares at photos and feels a wave of recognition without recall, the strange sweetness of familiarity without context. A scent, a song, a doorway can unlock a flash, but the flashes don't stitch neatly. Mara teaches him a ritual. He reads yesterday's summary out loud to her. She fills gaps gently, never grilling. They've learned that pressure makes the memory fog thicken. Patience gives it room to lift. Diagnosis without a map. Diagnosis is slow. Blood work, normal. Brain scans unremarkable. EEG uneventful. Neuropsychological testing shows intact attention, normal language production, strong procedural memory, but inconsistent recall of recent autobiographical events. No sedatives, no alcohol misuse, no head trauma with visible lesion. Psychiatric consults suggest dissociative amnesia with a predominantly localized ongoing pattern, likely tied to stress and a recent trigger, layered on older unresolved material. If this sounds squishy, it is. Dissociation is a protective maneuver, not a neat lesion you can circle on a scan. It doesn't make it less real, it makes it harder to prove. Treatment, gentle rewiring. Treatment is not a single pill, it's process. 1. Safety and routine. First, make the present predictable. Sleep regularity, consistent wake time. Breakfast, read the binder, call Mara. A daily anchor gives the brain a stable shoreline to return to. 2. External memory aids. Notes, alarms, an app that timestamps entries. Voice memos Eli records at night. Future me, today you taught Ava how to change a guitar string. She laughed when the string snapped. Hearing his own voice the next morning bridges the gulf. 3. Trauma-focused psychotherapy. When, and only when he's stable, therapy turns toward the trigger. Carefully, with consent, paced. They trace stressors, a childhood ER visit he barely remembers, a father who left without goodbye, the fear of being blindsided. They use grounding techniques, 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, to keep one foot in the room while the mind peeks at the lava. 4. Family work. Mara learns not to quiz. Ava learns that Dad's love isn't measured in perfect recall. The family builds new rituals. The 3 good things journal they fill out together after dinner and read together every morning. 5. Occupational and cognitive strategies. Break tasks into chunks. Repeat with variation. Celebrate retrieval, not perfection. Over months, Eli's reset shrinks. Mornings feel foggy, but by the afternoon, today holds. Some yesterdays begin to stick. Edge cases and ethics. Dissociative amnesia gets messy at the edges. What if someone forgets a crime they witnessed or committed? What if a parent forgets custody exchanges? What if a spouse doesn't remember consenting to a major decision? Law wants certainty. Dissociation offers nuance. Clinicians walk a tightrope, validate the suffering without endorsing convenient erasures. Not every I don't remember is dissociation. Not every clean scan proves nothing is wrong. The ethical compass points to function. Can we help this person live safely now? Can we reduce distress? Can we reconnect them to their story without tearing them apart? Glitches of hope. Eli doesn't get a Hollywood cure, but recovery isn't a switch, it's a slope. One morning he wakes and knows, before reading the note, that the coffee beans are in the blue jar. He smiles, a tiny victory. Another week he remembers the punchline of Ava's joke before she tells it. She catches her breath. You remembered? He nods, surprised and proud, like finding a pebble in his pocket he thought he lost. Mara still keeps the note by the coffee. But some days he doesn't need it. He reads it anyway, not because he must, but because he can. Science, not magic. What's happening under the hood? Memory isn't a single file cabinet, it's distributed. Sensory fragments, emotions, context, language, all woven and tagged. Dissociation, under stress, may downshift networks that bind those tags, particularly for autobiographical recall, while leaving skills and facts relatively intact. Therapy and routine re-establish reliable retrieval cues. The brain learns that visiting certain corridors is safe again. The door that once slammed shut starts opening on oiled hinges. The letter. He writes,
Good morning, Eli. If you're reading this, you made it through another day. Today might feel new. That's okay. Check the binder. Call Mara. Yesterday, you taught Ava to tie a new cord. You laughed. She laughed. Your life is not gone. It's here. You're here. You from last night. He folds the note. He puts the pen down. He exhales.
Tomorrow will come, the loop may return, but there are bridges now, made of paper, routine, love. Memory isn't just a record, it's a reality we build together, One routine, one reminder, one kindness at a time. Sometimes reality cracks. Sometimes it loops. But with patience, we can stitch a path through the fog. This is the human condition, where every disorder has a story. Next episode, borrowed feelings. When emotions aren't yours, emotional contagion and empathy misfires. Subscribe, share, and tell us your stories below.